This is interesting. Darrell Ryder, Browns beat reporter, tweeted this out. Paul DePodesta's strategies have produced the following on-field results for the Browns. 2016 and 17 rebuild, 1-31. 2018 and 2019, 13-18 and 1. 20 to 24, 39 and 27, 2 playoff seasons, 1 playoff win. Post rebuild, 52, 55 and 1. Overall, 53, 86 and 1. And again, the whole analytics thing, there are people on both sides of it. It's not working. Nobody signs up for 30 games below 500.
Well, I'm going to use the Steelers as an example, right? So Steelers were not supposed to be very good this year, right? They had 2 quarterbacks that were both just going to be okay. But when you talk about culture, I think the word culture sometimes is overused in the word sports. It's the most important thing, but it's overused. Culture comes with consistently doing the same things, right? Consistently, habits build culture. Doing it consistently right all the time, and that's what the Steelers do. The Steelers draft really well. When you look at a guy like Peyton Willis, when you look at the tight end they draft, when you look at the offensive lineman they draft, they're not always the highest guy on the board, but they're football players, and that's kind of the Steelers' MO. When the Ravens draft defensive players, they're nasty. They fly the ball. They hit. So these guys, these programs, these organizations that have consistency, they do it their way, and they have a culture that they've implemented, and they draft that way. It's amazing how some of these teams don't rebuild; they just retool. And in the NFL, you shouldn't rebuild. You should retool because you should have good players at every level. The Browns have really got to figure out their drafting, who they're drafting, and why they're drafting, and make sure they get some of those first rounders right, because that's what it really comes down to. They haven't hit on many of their draft picks.
Yeah, you have to admit now that Jedrick Wills at 10th overall was a miss. They haven't had a first-round pick in a while. The second-round picks, JOK was really good. Delpit was pretty good. So those are not bad. But the third-round picks now, they've been not great. Anthony Schwartz comes to mind. You had Jordan Elliott. So there are not a lot of draft picks that you can go with. The other thing I would say, look at the Ravens. The Ravens, Ozzie Newsome kind of got that started. Now he's moved on, and they've continued to be able to identify players that fit their system. The Steelers have had 3 head coaches going back to Chuck Noll in like the 60s. So, I mean, that's stability. Think of how many, everybody here wants to change the head coach and the GM again. And again, I get it. It's been a disappointing season. I don't know if starting over is the best thing.
Well, when you start over, you have to usually you have to understand there's going to be pitfalls and there's going to be things that happen. You're going to have your lumps and you're going to take those lumps. And Ravens are another great example. Teams that draft to what they do. Like I said with the Steelers, there's just so many things that the Browns need to figure out. And I'm going to use Jed Wills as an example. I've watched Jed Wills personally practice for 3 years now. I've been down there a half hour every single day for 2 days. And the thing that I understand why they draft Jed Wills has a ton of talent. He can move his feet. So when you go to like the analytical, all the measurements, Jed Wills has all the measurements. The one thing that Jed Wills has not shown is that 1-2, that nastiness. And when he gets that, he's going to be, he could be a scary player.